David Pearl, 79 Main Street. Chief, is it true that the requirements for the SRO position have been lowered?
We're not going to get back and forth here. If it's a group of questions that you have, you can state them and we can get back to you. Okay?
I have one question,
Okay.
which I respectfully asked the chief. I think that I have every right to have an answer to that question.
I'm not debating that, but
Okay,
I think what we've seen in the past, and it's no surprise that the chief will not answer. He won't answer because he just makes it a practice.
I'm addressing you as public input. I'm being respectful, and I'm asking the chief a question which I think has no relationship to non-public personnel or anything else. I have heard that the requirements for the SRO have been lowered. I would like to know if that is true, and if that is true, is there reasoning behind it?
No, the standards for the SRO have not been lowered or been reviewed recently.
Or adjusted? Thank you.
This AOM change that you're bringing forth is very specific, has to do with the requirements of an SRO, and it's changed the requirements of an SRO eligibility.
See that? I know I said no, but I don't remember it, to be honest with you.
Well,
Can we vote on this motion?
well, let's have a little discussion, because I want to know what the purpose, what's the reasoning behind changing the requirements from what they are to, what's the advantage and what's the reason for the change? As to what?
This didn't change the, and I apologize to Mr. Pearl if my comment wasn't correct. What was changed was not the requirements of the officer itself, that somebody could have 2 years of time. You know, 2 years of time on the job to look at the idea that you may have somebody that in the future we would consider to be an SRO, and it's not 2 years with hooks it, they might have a number of years somewhere else. So that's supposed to be what's changing. It's not so much the requirements of their abilities, just to acknowledge the fact that you know, we've been hiring, as you know, some people have come from other places.
But I understand that. I'm privy to that.
So I think that's what this is
that,
supposed to be.
That is very specific, and we open the door on it. We open the door on it, so we need to discuss it. That lowers the requirement of having 2 years with hooks at PD, right?
Right.
Down to 1 year with hooks at PD, right?
No, down to, let's see.
Just over their probationary period.
Right.
What's the purpose of doing that at this point in time?
So that we could look at, have a better, bigger pool of people, because as you know, we've hired more people recently from other agencies that may or may not have been here in X number of years, but have experience in larger agencies or in other fields before they came here, and to acknowledge that, so we don't say to somebody that came here with a number of years, you're locked out of potentially a position because you haven't physically been here, yet the truth of the matter is you have more experience that you brought to us than the people that could have already
If the scenario were to change next year, is a request for an AOM change going to be put in again for another circumstance, because you may have some other individuals that might fit the bill? I think that at this point in time is not a good thing to do. It appears on the surface that it's being tailored to include certain individuals, and frankly, I don't like it. So.
With all due respect, it wasn't done to tailor to any individuals.
It certainly appears that way on the surface, but I'm still going to stand with my motion. I'm going to wait for the chair to return. In the meantime, I request we take a 5-minute break.
I hope you can see my frustration and I can see yours tonight. After having to fight to ask a question, which should have already been out there, I feel I was misled by the chief. You all have a requirement to live in this town for 5 years before you can serve. I think that's very clear, that a requirement may be residency, time at a residency, or time on the job. His excuse was unacceptable to me. I think, and it concerns me that he, being the police chief, that he can be so easily confused by something like that, and frankly, I doubt it. I would also totally object to the expenditure for SRO training. We have one of the highest qualified SRO officers right here in Hooksett who has made his wishes known to be the SRO of Hooksett again, who's been willing to make a commitment to that job for 3 years and not have the change that we have now. And this chief has not given him that opportunity. He claims that it's a personnel issue. I would caution or hope that there is someone that has the eyes to be able to look at that personnel file and determine it, because I feel we're headed for a discrimination case here. I don't think it's a personnel issue. And if it's the memo that he's holding out, that memo had been made public to members of the school board and the superintendent, and I do not think that that memo qualifies any longer to be non-public. And I think maybe Mrs. McHugh knows what memo I'm talking about. I don't really want to get into referring to the nature of the memo because, frankly, it's rather disgusting, and I don't want to repeat it here.